ooh, murder, there's some murdering going about on this ship, and it's like, ooh, got spoiled. I gotta say, like, so, like, Kurapika, like, he was just there, like, immediately trying to get the gun ready in the chain. He's like, yo, let's fucking, like, right, look, there's some bullshit going on this trip, like, on this ship right now. I don't trust a single motherfucker blows in the fucking clip like that. If you lie, my chain will start jingling and I will shoot you straight in the skull. We are getting some answers right now, and I want them. And it was like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, Kurapika, like, immediately going into immediate murder mode, and it's like, going throughout all this shit, and it's like, I'm glad that, you know, we're finally, you know, the ship has finally, you know, departed, that we finally got this, like, information that's going on about, like, the Black Whale, which, like, we've got some information about this where it's like, okay, at least some of the situation is slightly sorted out, like, when they're going to go to human territorial waters and they're going to leave, and then just as soon as they leave the edge of, like, the world that they know and all that, before they get to the untamed waters to the Dark Continent, they're at least going to refuel. And I'm thinking about that, it's like, are you sure, considering, like, since you have no idea what those waters are going to be like, nor have anyone really gone that way before, how do you know if the ship's going to make it that far? Honestly, like, just to be on the safe side, like, I don't give a fuck and all that, even if you are going to be refueled, then you should at least, and I mean, at least, you should at least, like, get some double fuel or some shit like that. You know, you gotta keep this shit, like, you know, on some actual, like, you know, legit shit. But I don't think they thought it that far, and it was like, no, it's all fine, it's all fine. And, like, you know, whilst we've got that, you know, we've got everyone else trying to, like, sort out, like, all the shit, like, all the Zodiacs are trying to sort out. You got a couple of them at, like, Beyond Nero's cell, and I just like that he's just there chilling with, like, a Coke can and just reading, and it's just like, yeah, like, I know I'm still in this bullshit like that, dealing with this shit, but fuck it, like, I'm still there. And, like, even, like, which I'm like, oh, does it really need to be three of us here like that? And it's like, well, it's beyond Netero, you know, the guy's got something up his fucking sleeve that's like, oh, we'll have a rotation instead. And I'm like, dude, come on, like, really, like, you know, like, you really should, like, fucking think of this better, like, this. And then, I mean, we do get to see a little bit of, like, Netero, like, you know, Beyond Nero's, like, people, and it's like, even throughout all of that, all the other Zodiacs are trying to deal with shit, like, you've got, like, throughout the entire that, you know, you've got, like, shit, like, all of them are trying to do, like, one's in the court, like, trying to be in the courthouse. I like how that this has just gotten so quickly that they've got a courtroom built in how big of this fucking ship is. Like, you know, they've got a courtroom, meeting room, restaurant, dinner, like, fucking shopping centers, and I'm like, yeah, you really think about it, just imagine how big this ship is. It's like, it's the size of giant skyscrapers. Second half of the chapter was the mystery stuff, though, where it's like, ooh, you know, shit's going on. And Kurapika arrives, and there's just a dead guard with all his blood has been drained out. And it's like, you know, he didn't report in his regular time, so we just found this fucker like this. And I'm like, the guy looks like he died, like, had, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just his face is just like, it looks like he was in sheer bliss at the end, like that. It's like, yo, like, and his name was Woody, so, I mean, hey, at least he was fucking getting, you know, maybe he was getting his rocks off at the end or something like that. It's like, he looks like he just had the best nut in his entire life. It's just like, oh, that's just what he looks like. I know, I'm super immature, I really know, but it's like, hey, if you're gonna go out one way, that's one way to fucking go out. However, though, they did notice, like, on his body that they had, like, multiple, like, puncture points, like, throughout entirely there, and it's like, oh, this is some kind of, like, Nen attack, like, and all that, and I want you to answer me truthfully, motherfuckers. There's a high, like, probability this is a Nen user. Who here's a Nen user? And they're like, oh, wait, what? What's a Nen user? And it's just like, and then they go and ask, like, the other guards to actually know it, and it's just like, look, we only know and all that about our mission is limited to protect the queen and the prince and all that. Like, that's all we know. And there was a clear, like, internal matter for, like, the Kaking army, wasn't it? It's like, no one other than, like, Kurapika know about this whole giant fucking royal war that they're having right now to try and become the next king. And it's like, the only person that knows this right now is him. And then when you get to the ceremonial hall, it's like, you see all these, like, fucking like, princes all around. They're like the fucking first prince is there, like, immediately, like, trying to grab his hands, and, like, he's like, oh, I can't wait and all that. I feel like I will not be so killed easily. I can't wait to get my hands on you. Ooh, like that, just ready to strangle the fuckers. I'm like, yeah, that's quite concerning. Even with like, you know, oh, but like, don't worry guys, it's fine because we've got two of like the princes and all that, or princesses are like getting along really well. It's just like, oh yeah, that's really cool. It's just like, oh, never mind, one of them is trying to use the other just so and all that you can use it. And it's just like, yeah, like it's like going for that. It's like, I believe the one is called Ka and the other one's like called Fu, and it's like, I was like, oh look, she's like, don't say my name so fucking casually, you know, listen up and all that, let's work together and kill off all the other princes. And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, when we're done and all that, and it's just the two of us, I'll ask like Papa to let you live and tell the guards you'll cooperate with mine. It's just like, yeah, like, I don't think that's really gonna work, like, after everything. It's like, alright, foo-foo, like that. It's like, bye-bye, like that. It's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work too well, because either fucking, like, if that's the case, Fu is either gonna super betray you, or there's, like, you know, like, this plan's just not gonna work. And I just like, this is the one that Merity's working for, this super bitch, and it's, like, it seems like she has a trend with, like, I'm gonna hire, like, which is a very sad thing and all that, because it's like, oh, I'm just gonna hire, like, ugly people on my side, which you can clearly see that was a theme of her, and it's like, yeah, she's got an ugly personality, and then it's like, oh, it's, you know, a wolf's under, you know, like, you know, it's all like wolves and, like, sheep's skin, and it's like, that's the whole thing, and I feel bad for, like, Merity, like, dealing with that shit, and it's just like, you know, because that's the whole thing of, like, her character, is like, you know, she's, like, super kind and nice in the inside, like, but then the people look at her like she's some sort of fucking freak or anything like that. And one thing that caught us surprised is that her entire self is a lie. Like, you know, like, everything that she is pretty much a lie. Which is like, you know, yeah, no joke there. Because, like, you know, it's kind of no shit Sherlock, because she's an entire super mega bitch. And it's just like, and immediately they come back and it's like, oh, more of the fucking people that just, like, immediately, like, out of, like, the guards got turned into, like, fucking, like, just, like, drained out. And this is when Kurapika's like, alright, like that, I'm fucking pulling a gun out. Who is it? Who is it? Like that, I need, like, shit has gone too far. And the question is like, you know, it's either A, the fucking baby, like, where it's like, the baby's ability is now, like, you know, draining thing, and they need that to, like, absorb into power, and then they're gonna use this baby to some fucking power, that I think. Or it is one of the princes, and they're trying to, like, try some shit already, or one of the bodyguards, so it's like, so they could stir shit up. So, honestly, it's like, you know, they're immediately making moves, and it's like, I'm very curious to see if, like, is it A? Is it a mole? Is it like B? Is it the baby? Is it like C? Is it like just like, you know, one of the princes themselves getting involved? It's like, yeah, already things have gone fucking hot. Like, I mean, even before the ship took off, things were going tits up, and it's like, no, now it's getting even more tits up than it originally did. Now it's just shit has hit the fan, like, immediately, and it's just like, yeah, that's where we go and all that. It's like, yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. So it's like, I mean, we did get a few, like, screenshots of, like, some of, like, the people there. Like, you do get to see, like, the king himself and all that, just looking up beyond and seeing, like, all these, like, princes and all that, like, just going ahead and, like, trying to fuck people up. And it's just like, yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing where, like, this is gonna be going. Although, like, I'm glad, like, even though, like, it was a dialogue heavy chapter, I feel like there wasn't like, too much of the piss taken some of it, although it was focusing on a lot of characters that, personally, I don't care too much. Like, I don't really care too much for Beyond's people too much. Like, I've never really found them too interesting, to be fair. Like, mind you, we've had so little time to, like, spend on them, but it's like, pretty much we were progressing and all that, and we do know that, like, that people are already trying to make their moves already. Like, you know, we know that Ka and Fu are, like, kind of working together, but that's still, you know, that could be, like, you know, Fu could be playing, like, Ka for all we know, and then Norse as well. We've got, like, Kurapika's people already getting fucked up. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what's going to be happening, like, already at this point. But, you know, I enjoyed it. I think, like, you know, we found some very interesting things, and I'm glad to know we kind of know where all the Zodiacs are at the moment. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's super fucking dialogue heavy at the end of the day, and it's like, I know some people are going to look at this chapter and just go, oh my god, my mind is frazzled. Like, no more, please, no more. Although I find it quite interesting, and it's just like, you know, it's some mystery shit right now, and it's like, it reminds me of, like, the little bit of I read of, like, Conan. Like, a little bit of that, but it's like, you know, there's a lot of motors going around, and that's, like, the interesting. Although, personally, I think it's the same with me, of how it is with, like, Hunter x Hunter. I prefer the anime. It's sort of like, it's always going to be that way to me. Like, same thing with Detective Conan. Like, I fucking love the anime to it. Like that, I enjoy the parts of what I've seen in the manga, and I'm looking forward to, like, reading it once if I ever do catch up with the series. But it's like, regardless of what, it's like, I feel like I'm still going to be in that anime format regardless of what, and I think a lot of people are. And still, like, even with me, like, you know, when I caught up, I had to read, like, I marathoned the last part of like all we saw of the arc, like, you know, with everything with Miriam and his like, oh, with the Chimera Ants, and it's still, you know, it's a weird transition to me. I feel like it probably doesn't help that we had such a long break from the manga, and it's like, and you know, like I said, like, you know, what like Togashi's doing, he's still keeping up. I have to commend him. He's already met my expectations without taking a break already. So, you know, he's already doing good, and I'm like, yeah, let's see what else is going to be happening in the next chapter of Hunter x Hunter. But that's all for me. I'm probably going to give this one I think it was good, like a little bit of advancement. I think a 7.5 to an 8. I think an 8 is probably a better number for this chapter. I thought it was a good chapter. It didn't blow my mind in any way though, but I think it was like, the material it was doing, it was being clever, although, you know, I really appreciate like all the trickery shit that's going on right now with the princes. I do like that, and kind of, at least everyone's got something to do. I'm not thinking like, oh, what about that person? No, everyone's got something that they're at least doing on this fucking ship. So I'm glad that that's happening. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. But that's all from me. Thank you much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time.